Imagine you buy a car with a powerful engine, a big potential, big engine, but from day one you drive at high RPM in a wrong gear every day. So what happens? Not performance, eventually it leads to wear and tear of the engine. In this series, VO₂ Max is like an engine capacity, the size of your engine. But the training zones decide how you drive that engine, your gears, your fuel use, your recovery, and how long the engine lasts. So today is not about going harder. Today is about building a body you can keep for decades. I am Dr. Naveen Tiago, Orthopaedic Surgeon. I treat joints every day and I am obsessed with one idea when it comes to longevity and endurance. Longevity or endurance isn't about living longer, it is about staying mobile, independent, and capable for as long as possible. For those of you who are seeing this VO₂ Max part straight to this video, the previous parts we have discussed about why VO₂ Max matters for long-term health. That was part 1. And in part 2, what improves VO₂ Max, the cardiac output, the stroke volume, and oxygen use in the muscles. And now in part 3, how to train without burning out. This is what we are going to discuss in this part. So what are zones? Zones, let's make the zone simple. Training zones are just intensity levels like gears. Different systems label differently, but the idea is the same. Whether you are training easily, moderate, or hard. And there are many ways to classify the zones. Some of the 3 ways which I have come across, I'll discuss. One is zones dividing the training zones based on the percentage of the HRmax, that is maximum heart rate. And number 2, based on the heart rate reserves, which uses the resting heart rate. And number 3, how it feels when you are training, like talk test. How are you able to converse or talk as you are training? So today we keep it usable, that is EC based first. First, dividing the zones based on the heart rate, HRmax. In this method, you estimate a zone as a percentage of your maximum heart rate. It is simple, but it's still an estimate because the HRmax varies a lot between people and formulas can miss a full zone. So we will use HR numbers as a guide and not as a religion. So next is calculating the zones based on HRR. Here HRR equals HR minus resting heart rate, and for the target heart rate, that is equals the resting heart rate plus the percentage of the HRR. So it is useful because 2 people can have the same HRmax but very different baselines. Now the third method is talk test. Love because it works worldwide and it can be used by anybody when they are training. It is like if you can speak comfortably in full sentence, if you are in an easy base. And if you can only say short phrases, you are drifting into harder workout. It's as simple as this, but there are several divisions in between. So let's make it very simple. In this video, we'll discuss about the foundational zones, like zone 0 and zone 1. In zone 0, some of the models do not take that zone 0 into considerations, but I think it's an important area where many people who wants to start after a long break or who are very sedentary in life or who have a very busy schedule and they have never allocated for any exercises so far, this is the zone to start with. So it's zone 0 is nothing but gentle movement, that is a line between sedentary and active. Example like easy walking, maybe some yoga, tai chi. As an orthopedic surgeon, here is my bias. If you want joints that last, daily low stress movement is not an optional thing. And zone 0 is how you restart the system without friction. Zone 0 is very easy. Maybe you can call below training or less than 50% of the HRmax. And zone 1 is about light activity, just above zone 0. Often around 50 to 60% of the HRmax. Think like a brisk walking, easy cycling maybe comes in this zone 1. So why it matters? Zone 1 is where you accumulate volume with low recovery cost and low injury risk. And that's how habits stick. And importantly, many endurance athletes build a lot of their training volume easier than most people expect. The movement is medicine, and only if you can keep taking that dose. Zone 2 has its own place. It is associated with fat oxidation, focus, and mitochondrial number increase, flexibility, adaptations, and it is valuable in the right context. But here's a message for real life, especially midlife and busy schedules. For many people, the fastest way to quit is to choose an intensity that carries a higher recovery burden too early. And that's why starting with zone 0 and zone 1 can be a smarter and more sustainable entry point. So I'm not saying avoid zone 2. I'm saying earn with a good base to start with. So start with zone 0 and zone 1 if you are sedentary, if you are more than your midlife, or and if you have very big schedule, very busy schedules. So the practical weekly rhythm can be like most of the days zone 0 or 1 movement, something you can repeat, and add 2 strength training sessions per week to protect the muscles, bones and joints. And this is the longevity architecture, the easy volume plus strength. Then we layer the intensities later. Comment below in which zone are you maximum spending your time. Is it in the zone 0, 1, 2, 3 or 4, 5? So leave your comments, because next video, part 4, it's about true zone 2 and aerobic threshold, and part 5 is about lactate as a fuel and weekly training mix that protects the VO₂ Max as we age. Don't forget to comment, like, share with your friends and relatives, and subscribe, and don't forget to press the bell button next to the subscribe button. Disclaimer: the content shared in this video is for information and education purpose only. It is not intended as a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis or treatment. Always consult your doctor or qualified healthcare provider with any questions regarding a medical condition. This content does not establish a doctor-patient relationship. Please speak with your personal physician before making any health decisions. Medical guidelines and knowledge evolve. Content shared here may change or become outdated over time. The individual cases vary. What applies to one person may not apply to another. For accurate diagnosis and treatment, in-person consultation is essential. Your health is your responsibility. Stay informed and choose credible sources. Stay well, stay aware. Dr. Naveen Thiagu Bashingam. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.